All right, let's go ahead and continue with our series on the Greeks and Persians. And now we're going to focus on their conflicts. The first conflicts or group of wars is called the Persian Wars, and we've seen in film the 300 series as the uh, depiction of the Persian Wars. So basically, what happens, right? The Persians they expand into Anatolia, and Anatolia on the westernmost coast is the land of the Ionian Greeks, right, where these colonists live. So Ionia gets conquered by the Persians, and these Greeks get conquered by the Persians. And the Persians tell these Ionian Greeks, you can still be Greek, you can still do your religion, you can still have your own government, you can still keep your traditions and your language and everything else. You just got to pay us taxes every so often. And when we need to go to war, you have to send soldiers every so often. And for a long time, the Onian Greeks were like, sure, we'll take the deal because they can't really fight off against the Persians. And then someone gets involved, right? So you see this fighting between the Persians and the Greeks. Then the Athenians, right? The Athenians over here, they tell the Ionians who are over here, that's not right. That's messed up. It's not right that you guys as Greeks, are bowing down and listening to the Persian Empire. So you need to rebel. You need to fight them off and you need to rebel and gain your independence. And the reason Athenians want this is because Athens, having a great navy and relying so much on trade, wanted to make sure that the Ionian Greeks, have, kind of listen to what the Athenians tell them, and that the Athenians can control the Ionian Greeks. So the Athenians, they send soldiers, they send ships, they send supplies and weapons, and they help the Ionians rebel against the Persians. And it fails miserably. But the Persian emperor at that time is called Darius, he says, you know what? Athens is helping these people rebel against us. We had a good thing going. Now there's these rebels. So now we're going to go to war against Athens and Sparta and Marathon and any other Greek city state that gets in the way. So we have this war, right? This is the Persian Wars, right? The first of many. And it all starts because the Athenians and some of the other Greek city states are helping the Ionians rebel against Persia. So when the Persians come in, right, and they go through the north, right, they go up here, they conquer up here, and they move their way southward towards the major Greek city-states, which are down here. So they invade Greece, and they conquer city-state by city-state by city-state by city-state. And eventually what we see is that the Greeks, for the first time, decide to put aside all their political differences and unite against this common enemy, the Persians, right? And the Persians are depicted as like these evil, barbaric people. They're weak, they're soft. They care too much about, how attractive they look. The men put on eyeliner. So all these kind of like criticisms of the Persians and their cultures kind of start spreading. And the idea is that the Greeks are like these big, strong guys, and of course they're going to defeat them. And eventually it unites the Greek city-states, the most major city-states of Athens and Sparta. They unite together for the first time ever, and they actually stop the Persians. And this is unique because the Persians had like an army of like 1 million soldiers, or that's what the stories say. And the famous battle where this happens is the Battle of Marathon. Right? The Athenians defeat the Persians. The Persians get back on their ships. They're supposed to go back home, but instead of going back home, they go around and they try to attack the city of Athens. And so the Athenians have to send soldiers, have to send a runner back home to Athens. And Marathon is exactly 26.2 miles away from the city of Athens. And the soldier runs these 26 miles as fast as he can, and he gets to Athens eventually, and he tells them, we won, but the Persians are coming. Get ready to, defend Athens. And then he dies from exhaustion because he just ran 26.2 miles. And when the Persians sail up to the city of Athens, the Athenian army is there waiting for them, ready to fight. And they say, no way. And they back away and they retreat. All right. So we see this kind of like these stories of this conflict take place, Greece versus Persia. 10 years later, we have round two. We have a new king. His name is Xerxes, and he's the son of Darius, and he says, "I'm going to get revenge for my father's failure. I'm going to conquer the Greeks, unlike my father was able to do." So he sends this humongous army, all right, and he wants to invade Greece once again, but this time he meets the Spartans, and the famous battle is the Battle of Thermopylae, where thousands and thousands and thousands of Persians are marching, and there's a kind of little strip of land. On one side you have mountains, on the other side you have this ocean, like a cliff with an ocean, and the Persian army is walking through this small, narrow area, and the Spartans meet them there. And of course, we give all the credit to the 300 Spartans, but there were, thousands of other Greeks there. But definitely the most famous part or famous element of that army were the Spartans. So here we see, right? So we have these mountains on one side, we have the cliff and the water on the other side. All right, so all these Persian soldiers, right? You see them line up over, kind of like this endless line. They're fighting against the Persians, against the Spartans, and the Spartans hold them off for a very long time. All right, but eventually at the Battle of Thermopylae, the Persians win, and then they go to Athens and they burn down Athens. So there's like all these losses, and eventually, finally, the Greeks kind of get their, stuff together and reunite, and we're finally once again able to defeat the Persians and send them packing back home. So the Persian Wars, they weakened the Persian Empire. That's one of the big effects, right? The Persians, for a very long time, they were very tolerant of other people. But after losing these wars, they're like, you know what? Anyone who's not Persian sucks, and we're going to punish them, and we don't like them. So non-Persians are not going to get discriminated because they're just so upset that, these outsiders, these foreigners won this battle. The Persians would never attempt to conquer Greece because it was a failing thing. And also we see that the Persian emperor loses his authority, his power, because when you claim to be divinely chosen by God and claim to be the king of kings and you lose not once but twice, people got a question like, is this guy full of crap? Is he full of BS? And people start rebelling against the Persian emperor. So Persia weakens big time after this. On the other side, we see the rise of Athens, and that leads to another war called the Peloponnesian Wars. So Athens, right, once the Persians are out of the way and they leave the Ionians alone, the Athenians, they start trading. They start sending more ships around the Mediterranean because there's no threat to them anymore, right? They're the big bad naval power. They start setting up colonies where those colonies were once conquered by the Persians. So this is when Athens enters its golden age. This is the time of Socrates and Plato and Aristotle. Right? This is the time of where the Parthenon is built. This is the time of Pericles. Right? This is Athens' golden age. Right? And this is what we think of Greece is during this time. Now, the Athenians are not very much liked by others, including Sparta. And Sparta does not like Athens. Sparta does not like Athens gaining more power and more wealth. So Sparta declares war. So we have these wars called the Peloponnesian War, right, between Sparta and its allies versus Athens and its allies. So it's kind of like a Greek civil war, and it lasts for 27 years, right? And the Persians, if the Athenians are winning, then the Persians will send help uh, to the Spartans, and if the Spartans are winning, the Persians will help out the Athenians because the Persians just want them to kill each other so that they can come back and take over whatever is left. The end result is that Sparta wins. Athens is burned down again, A lot of the population dies because they get a plague. So all these epidemic diseases spread and kill a whole bunch of people, and whatever is left is burned down again. And Sparta is the winner, sort of, right? Sort of the winner, because Sparta is too weak to stop to do anything more, right? They defeated, but they wasted a lot of time and money and resources and soldiers. And Athens loses because they get defeated, but Sparta sort of wins, and I'll tell you what that means on the next video. Why Sparta sort of wins. All right, see you next time.